There is video. When you look at the video, and we will release, that's what's taken a while on this, we are working on cleaning it up to make sure you have an enhanced, and we're going to give the original so you don't think there were any shenanigans. You're going to see.
One thing for sure, I can tell you who's not on Epstein's list. Nobody black, no immigrants, no trans. There's no diversity in this ring. No DEI. This is a game for rich, old white dudes. The largest demographic in America, the number one registered sex offenders in America, registered sex offenders, are middle-aged white dudes. This is their game.
You clicked this video because you want to know what really went down with Jeffrey Epstein. The names that came up, the connections people still argue about, and the parts nobody ever explains straight. No fluff, no fake hype, just the real behind-the-scenes talk and why this story still won't die. That's exactly where we're going. Stick around, hit subscribe, and tap that bell, because when the next piece of this saga drops, you won't be catching it late. The moment the pages dropped, nobody cared about page numbers or legal words. Eyes went straight to one thing: names. Big ones, rich ones, powerful ones. The kind of names you're not used to seeing anywhere near a courtroom. And once those names started popping up, everything stopped. Almost overnight, screenshots started flying. Old photos came back, old interviews got replayed. Private trips people forgot about suddenly mattered again.
Here's the bad news for Trump. Neither is Epstein and the issue regarding the Epstein files. Now, there is a point to be made when they say they've had the Epstein files for years. When Biden was in office, nothing got talked about or released then. We'll be talking about it now for. That is a very valid point.
And the internet did what it always does. It started guessing, connecting dots, filling gaps, sometimes reaching too far, sometimes asking fair questions no one wanted to answer. And that's where the rumors took off. People online started saying things like, there's no way this many powerful people didn't know something was off. Others pushed back hard, saying being in the same room doesn't mean anything. Two sides, no middle, just noise. But under all that noise was one uncomfortable truth. These names didn't come from gossip blogs. They came from sworn statements in court. And once people slowed down and actually read what was written, things got even messier. Some names came up through travel logs, some through emails, some through witnesses saying they saw certain people around at certain times in certain places. That doesn't mean those people broke laws, but it does mean their paths crossed with someone who later became one of the most talked about figures in recent history, Jeffrey Epstein.
And the people that were involved in these crimes have never been brought to justice or even discussed. And it's just something that just gets swept under the table. There's no outcry. There's no people demanding an investigation to find out what happened. There's real clear evidence that he was murdered, and everyone's trying to say it was just suicide. No big deal. And they're like, the cameras didn't work. No big deal. Whatever. It's over. Let's not talk about it anymore. That's nuts. That's crazy. There's clear evidence that they did that in front of everybody's face.
That's when people started asking the next question. How did one guy even get access to this many powerful circles? Epstein didn't look like someone who should have been everywhere he was. He wasn't loud, he wasn't flashy, he didn't have a clear job people could explain. Yet somehow he was always around money, fame, and power. Private dinners, closed meetings, long trips, places most people never get invited to once, let alone over and over. Rumors say he sold himself as a fixer, a connector, someone who could open doors. Some people online claim he made himself look richer and more important than he really was. Others believe he was useful because he knew secrets. None of that has been fully proven, but what is clear is this: people trusted him way more than they should have, and that trust reached into politics. Over the years, Epstein crossed paths with political figures from different sides. Photos, meetings, events. Some of those connections were short, some went on longer. Once the files came out, old clips started making the rounds again. People replayed them with fresh eyes. Lines that once sounded normal now sounded strange. Public reactions came fast. Some politicians flat out denied knowing Epstein well. Some said they met him once and cut ties. Some said nothing at all. Online, people argued nonstop. Why meet him? Why go back? Why stay quiet now?
I don't care who did what. I don't care if I like their music, their politics. I don't care if I like their movies. If you did this, to me, you're a pedophile and you should suffer the consequences of the law. Because unlike a lot of people, like Megyn Kelly, or like all of these people who are excusing this, I ain't got a favorite pedophile. That's not a game I'm willing to pay. That's going to be on Netflix soon.
Again, no proof of crimes for most, but silence made things louder. Then people started focusing on the money. Epstein moved around billionaires like it was normal. Private jets, expensive homes, island trips. For years, nobody questioned it. After the files dropped, Everything got questioned. Flight records turned into trending topics. Trips that once sounded boring now sounded suspicious. Some online say Epstein acted like a gatekeeper, that he offered access to powerful rooms if you stayed on his good side. Others say that's just speculation with no proof. What isn't speculation is how fast some wealthy figures tried to erase any connection once the heat turned up. Photos disappeared. Old praise vanished. Statements came out saying we barely knew him. And then Hollywood got pulled into the mess. Famous faces showed up in discussions almost instantly. Actors, producers, media people.
It's scary, actually.
Yeah.
So,
Was that what's taken so long with this Epstein files?
yeah, what's up with that?
What is up with that? It was like,
Yeah.
it's like Lucy and the football with Charlie Brown, when she always pulls that football away. It's the same thing. It's like they keep telling us they're going to release it day one. Oh, day
We have
one.
a serious case of no one's being arrested ophobia, you know.
Old party photos resurfaced. Red carpets people forgot about were suddenly paused and zoomed in on. Fans split fast. One side said, they go to tons of events, this means nothing. The other side said, regular people don't end up in these circles by accident. PR teams moved quick. Words were careful. Brief meeting, professional setting, no close relationship. Nothing illegal claimed, nothing admitted either. Just distance, a lot of distance. While all that played out, another part of the story barely got space: the accusers. For them, these files weren't about shock value. They weren't about famous names. They were about being believed. Many pushed for these documents to be unsealed because they felt powerful people had been protected for too long. Some said they spoke up years ago and nobody listened. Others said doors closed the moment they named names. Online support came, but so did hate. Some people questioned their stories. Some tried to dig into their pasts instead of listening. Blogs argued the real story wasn't who was named, it was how long it took for anyone to care. And then there's the part nobody seems to agree on: Epstein's death. The official story says it was self-inflicted, but almost immediately people doubted it. Cameras not working, guards asleep, too many mistakes at once. Rumors took over fast. Theories spread everywhere.
They that guy, he knew too much, and
To
now
send them out. Who do you think, as you step right into a live?
who knows? Who fucking knows? I mean, the cameras were off. Who knows? They probably sent in an assassin who fucking strangled him, and then made it look like it was some kind of a suicide attempt.
You know, they're all the Jeffrey Epstein conspiracy theories, which I'm probably too fascinated by, because it felt like there was some crazy stuff going on that they were able to cover up.
Some people believe he was silenced. Others say the truth is simpler, and people just don't want to accept it. What everyone agrees on is this: when he died, answers died with him. Investigations slowed, questions stayed open. People who might have talked never did. And now, years later, these court files ripped everything open again. Not with final answers, not with clean endings, but with reminders. Reminders of who had access, who stayed quiet, and how close power can get to darkness without anyone stopping it. What pushed this story even deeper was the paper trail people didn't notice at first. Buried in those documents were timelines, dates, locations, little details that didn't look important alone, but together started raising new questions. Some meetings happened right after major business deals. Some trips lined up with big political moments. People online started saying, that timing feels off. Not proof, just timing that made people uncomfortable. Then there was the inner circle. One name kept coming up over and over, not as power, but as the bridge between Epstein and everyone else: Ghislaine Maxwell. Witnesses described her as the organizer, the planner, the person who made introductions and smoothed things over. According to court records, she wasn't just present, she was active. That detail made people rethink every connection tied to Epstein, because if someone was introduced through her, the question became, how much did she really know, and how much did others ignore? People online began digging into old interviews. In some clips, Epstein downplayed his wealth. In others, he bragged about knowing world leaders. That contradiction stood out. Some bloggers suggested he used mystery as a shield. The less people understood him, the less they questioned him.
You ever had a personal relationship with Donald Trump?
What do you mean by personal relationships?
Have you socialized with him?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
He didn't need to explain where money came from if everyone assumed someone else already checked. Another layer people focused on was settlements. Years before the public really knew Epstein's name, lawsuits quietly ended. Money changed hands, papers got signed. Some accusers say those deals came with silence built in. Online chatter claims this is how things stayed hidden so long, not because nobody knew, but because problems were handled behind closed doors.
So number one, who is Jeffrey Epstein?
He's a billionaire, financier,
Okay.
lives in New York, has homes all over the world.
Yep.
Friend of the Donald, but
of the
also friend of the Clintons.
Not only was he hooking up with all these underage girls,
He had his staff poaching girls from schools. He had other girls go get other girls from their schools.
like
This
real
guy's-
R. Kelly stuff.
This is way beyond.
No, I
R.
know,
Kelly.
but I'm just saying the same strategy.
Then came the media angle. For years, stories about Epstein barely made noise. Some reports didn't air, some articles never published.
Doesn't it, the fact that we're still talking about Jeffrey Epstein, tell us how hard it is to come up with anything else?
No, because there's no answers for the Jeffrey Epstein thing.
Journalists later said pressure came from powerful places. That claim isn't fully proven, but former reporters have hinted that editors got nervous. The idea that money and influence could slow a story made people even angrier once the files dropped. Social media made sure that wouldn't happen again. Once the documents were public, nothing stayed buried. People compared notes. Old posts were archived. Deleted tweets got pulled back up. Fans noticed who spoke out and who didn't. Silence became its own message. Every non-answer felt louder than a denial. Some people named in the files tried to explain their side calmly. Others responded through lawyers. A few tried to joke it off, which only made things worse. Online reaction was brutal. Memes spread. Nicknames stuck. Fair or not, the court of public opinion moved faster than any real court ever could. Another detail that stood out was how young Epstein's operations started. Some connections traced back decades. That shocked people. It meant this wasn't a short-term thing. It wasn't a phase. It was a system that grew over time, protected by money, fear, and silence. People online started asking how many chances there were to stop it earlier. And then there was the question nobody could shake. If Epstein wasn't famous before his arrest, how did so many famous people know him? That question didn't accuse anyone directly. It just hung there, unanswered. The idea that someone so hidden could move so freely changed how people viewed power itself. It made many wonder how many other figures exist like that, moving quietly, never trending, never exposed. As more time passed, the shock faded, but suspicion stayed. The files didn't close the story, they reopened it. They showed that the real issue wasn't one man, it was a network that thrived because people looked away. Some out of fear, some out of benefit, some because asking questions would have cost too much. And that's where things get uncomfortable, because the documents didn't just point fingers, they held up a mirror. They showed how easy it is for power to protect itself, how long silence can last when money talks, and how truth doesn't always come out because people want it to, but because someone refuses to stop pushing.